everyone, it's Michelle Lightworker here, and I'm so excited to have Amanda Hart on Enlightened Conversations with me, joining me on what is actually going to be a very special day when this goes to air, because it's actually my birthday. So I'm all excited that we're doing this on recording it for my birthday day, Amanda. So I'm just excited about that. I had to share that with you. I realised that just before we came on.
Oh, happy birthday, Michelle.
It's kind of a bit of ahead of time, but anyway, that's all right. But for those of you who don't know Amanda, I want to formally introduce this wonderful being to you. Amanda has been an intuitive consultant for over 20 years, helping people to access their power and voice, where they discover their purpose and potential. And her memoirs, The Guys Upstairs, are a remarkable account of how, against all odds, she found the key to unlock us from negative programs, and how we can all have the power to do that. This book has, I always get goosebumps when I'm talking about this book. This book created such a stir that it's been adapted for the big screen, and speaks volumes about how the kind of determined commitment that she has to leave a legacy and to make this a better world to live in, which we're all so passionate about on Enlightened Conversations. This, even more so now, since a fourth diagnosed neurological disorder has changed her world completely. Despite this, her courage and commitment has made her more determined than ever to succeed. A true activist for enlightenment. Welcome, 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 Amanda Hart.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much, Michelle. And happy birthday. What a lovely day to share with you. So thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited that Spirit wanted this recording to be aired on my birthday. I've always felt sort of like a strong connection and sisterhood with you, but I can't even put it into words. It's more like a deep resonance and a deep feeling that I get whenever I'm in your presence and whenever we're communicating, and it's just a beautiful energy that I get and a beautiful connection.
Oh, no, absolutely, likewise. And I am very, very humbled by the process of how we actually connect with people who we feel at a deep soul level. And it's just such a difference to how I used to live my life. And I just feel very, very blessed. And every time I meet somebody like yourself, I think how lucky I am to have that privilege of having these deep conversations and relationships. And it just enriches our lives. So yes, I feel very humbled by the process.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm humbled that you're humbled. So maybe you can humble that you're humbled. But anyway, we can probably keep going. But interestingly, the last time I spoke to you, and I had a little short time with you when I was doing my radio show, I just felt like I really wanted to spend so much more time getting to know you and understanding more about you. So I feel like this is giving me another opportunity. It's almost like I get another go. I'm sure we'll probably have more to do with each other in the future, I feel, but it's just lovely to have an excuse to connect and to talk and to really get to know you better. What's been happening? I think we had our connection just towards the later end of last year. What's been happening for you since then?
Yeah, I think it was October time that I spoke to you, wasn't it? And that was a really interesting time because we had, as you know, that the book came out. It caused a stir. I was advised to get myself a literary agent, and then we had a lot of people that approached us to adapt the book into a film. And I've been very, very cautious about the whole process, but been guided by the guys upstairs to honour this. But this is a massive leap from going from hiding behind, a book and just sort of putting it out there and running away and hiding in a corner to something going out on the big screen. So we put it out there to see what screenwriters would come up with. And we chose one in particular, and that was based more on instinct than anything. We got a lot of advice from the industry, and bear in mind, I don't know anything about the film world, and I didn't really want to understand about the media in that sense. It's more about keeping the authenticity about the book. Absolutely. And we connected with this amazing woman in Los Angeles called Marianne Titariga, and she is an enlightened being personified. She's absolutely amazing. And I was really struck with that, because I thought, well, how on earth could that happen? I thought along the way, perhaps I would just, get the right person who'd understand it, but this was something else. She resonated with it at a deeper level. So she started to put together the treatment. We had other people put together the treatments. It was in no way in the same league as hers. And I mean, understanding and having the empathy with the book and really bringing through the true message. And she wrote this screenplay in next to no time. It was ready by the 11th of November. We were fascinated, and she'd even got the composer that she works with to actually create all the music for it, because it's a very magical, mystical, enchanted film. It's like a grown-up fairy tale for adults, so we understand about the magic and our connection to source. So it's not a doom and gloom sort of, synopsis of a dramatic kind of version of my story. It is very much an upbeat, hopeful, how to overcome adversity, connect to source kind of film. So so now we're in the next stage, and I'm taking a bit of a because it's obviously getting bigger now. We've had over 200 producers looking at this now, and even though we've had offers and we've had a lot of people in production, direction, screenplay, screenwriters still coming forward that are interested in taking this forward, we've stepped back and we've said, no, we'll know when we connect with the right person. So that's where we're at the moment.
Oh, wow. I love the way you're working this. Oh, my God. I totally resonate, sweetheart. I feel like it's exactly how I work. I feel that when we're talking about a book, now this is, the irony, but not really. The irony of the book title in itself, The Guys Upstairs, and talking about how we are divinely guided and listening to that guidance. And really, as human beings, in our lives, walking along our path, we can think about doing that selectively. We can think about, okay, well, I'll listen to guidance when I ask for it. The reality is, I think that the more we do it, the more it becomes what we need to do for every single decision. And sometimes, and I've just been through this myself, we don't get a green light until we're told we've got a green light. And I can highly relate to this one, because I have, I know, I can see, or I can feel that there's a lot coming in to my sphere of existence in the next 3 to 4 months. Massive sphere, incredible, couldn't even fathom it probably. And so if Spirit was to show me that in detail right now, I wouldn't be able to process it. I wouldn't be able to really get it or understand it. Yeah. And so it's a process of being able to go, well, it will present itself one step at a time in the right, and it has for you too. Because absolutely. Yeah, I mean, how could Spirit have actually said, you're going to meet this woman, she's going to write a screenplay in 11, she's going to do this, and then that's going to, and it would have just felt like, what? Like, how, you have to live through that. You probably felt it coming though, I imagine. You felt it coming.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? I think we're always pushing the parameters of who we are when we really, truly honour what our purpose, our life purpose is. And if we were given the information with the chronological order of how these events would unfold, we wouldn't be developing and expanding as a human being to embrace that. So we do get the understanding and the essence of where we're going. I get a lot of visions as well, so that gives you confirmation, because as a Capricorn, we tend to be very skeptical and we need to be very grounded and we need to have all the evidence. So they do give us that just to sort of keep us moving along the right path. But yes, even despite all the producers that came forward and said, fantastic idea, love the screenplay, but this is the way the industry works. This is the protocol. You're never going to get this. You won't do it that way. This is a big industry. You need to know people, etc. All the advice they gave me, I said, thank you very much. I totally understand that. But actually, I didn't say it directly to them, but I do know, that source will guide me. And it has unfolded that way. It's just led me to all the right people at the right time. And I've got a fantastic team behind me now. And each one of them are completely connected to all of this and understand the process. So, you know, you can't make this up. You can't possibly work out how you pick out of 7 billion people on the planet, the right people who are going to orchestrate this. You can only do it from a higher perspective.
Yeah. I just love it. It's a story in itself. I can totally relate to it. The
Well,
coming to be of
yes.
this project. And, you know, I just feel like I understand that the reason why we have a sisterhood, because when I first spoke to you, I had no plans for a television show. I had no plans for this actual program to be a film, or, you know, I had no plans for any of that.
No.
And the way that we're both approaching the way things are unfolding for us within the industry of film, obviously we're both in it, it's identical. It's incredible. It's like parallel lives. And I'm excited about that. I really am, because it validates what we're doing. It's spirits coming in and saying, this is the way to go. This is the absolute way to go. And don't allow other people's limited belief systems and their experience to limit what you're being called to do, because it could be more expansive than you could ever imagine, and easy.
I have learned that whenever I come across someone who is skeptical, or somebody who's trying to persuade me to go down a certain route, I tend to stop, take a step back, and I look at it from a higher perspective and think, what is it that you're trying to tell me here? And it tends to be their own personal fear or ego that's trying to take me down a route. And as long as you can see that, when we're detached and we can see that, we can make the decision which tends to take us in the opposite direction. So the actual art of understanding when somebody's aligned to source and when they're not helps us to navigate, and it actually leads, it's the clue we need sometimes to help us to go down the opposite direction, which is the right direction. So I totally embrace this.
Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes I have people say to me, oh, I couldn't access your thing on your website, or something happens and they couldn't get into an easy thing that everyone's getting into, whatever. And in the past, I think I would have stressed about it and thought, what do they think, or whatever. This is more for me now about the right people will see this stuff at the right time.
Yeah.
Don't worry about accessing stuff. The spirit's actually blocking people from accessing stuff that they're not ready for, and you need to trust that. And then there are people that are so ready, and they say this to me, oh my God, stuff's just been coming at me, I don't know why. It's just lately I've just noticed everything that you're posting, or on Facebook, or I've just, someone mentioned your name, and then another person did, and then someone said this about that, and then that to you, and you just have to trust that that spirit is weaving through the right people at the right time in divine timing, and that everything unfolds in time, and it's absolutely perfect. And to keep trusting that process, that's our job, isn't it, Amanda?
Yes, absolutely.
Just to keep trusting that process.
Yes, and also because we, you know, as light workers, we tend to have to look at things from a compassionate point of view, but we can't have that sympathy, whereas we probably would have bought into that before. And that was a very hard lesson for me. I got very caught up in people's dramas because I wanted to make them better. I thought that, because that's the old paradigm, that's how we were taught, you know, you've got to fix things, you've got to make things right, things have got to be perfect. And so I felt a failure if I didn't help somebody or give them the right advice, or they didn't change. It took many years for me to actually be able to stand back from people's stuff and realize everything happens when the time is right, because this, as you know, there's 7 billion people on the planet, and we can't all evolve at the same time, because otherwise we wouldn't be that essence of that part of the jigsaw that actually makes that part work in the big, you know, wheels of life. So we have to just embrace that and just allow the process to work for everybody when it's time for them.
And you know what? I'm hearing that this pause that you're taking, if you don't mind me sharing this, but I'm just, I want to share what's coming through, but it's like I'm hearing the word pregnant pause, and I feel like it's full of life. It's growing. There's something really growing in that pause. It's not something that's stagnant at all. And sometimes we think when we stop or we hold back or we pull back, we feel that there's some kind of stagnation or some kind of resistance or some kind of disconnection. But I'm not feeling that whatsoever. I feel that there's something germinating, there's something bigger going on, and that the timing is not a delay at all. It's definitely growing something quite helpful and supportive to make the movie as amazing. Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know, have you felt those kind of things yourself?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that, because you mentioned earlier about the story behind the story. And what I didn't expect, that actually that was actually part of the process. I'm writing the sequel to The Guys Upstairs, and when I was asked to write it, which was, I started back in 2014, I thought, well, how on earth can I top the Guys Upstairs, because that was full of so much drama and so much stuff about transformation. You know, that I'm not going to go through all that again. I had no idea how life-changing it has been since then. So there is this story behind the story, and that at the moment is unfolding. And I see the whole process, that not just myself, but the team behind it's Angel. It's called Angel, the movie. And I can see how everybody is going through such change. But it is about faith and dedication, that if you know that this is going to happen and trust in the process, it will just materialize, and that in itself is changing so many aspects of my life. So yes, I'm actually and it's amazing, because I couldn't just sort of put it out there and get on with the next project, which is what I used to do. I was a workaholic. I was a holic in many senses of the word. So I had a lot of dependencies through life, but that was, you know, the upshot of what had happened to me as a child. And I got that. I understand that. And I thought I was at a nice level place now where I could, you know, just pop the film out there and carry on with life. But you can't change your life and not expect yourself to change. And I'm going through a lot of change myself to adapt to that process.
Yeah, I love that. And I can relate to that too, because at the end of last year, Spirit said to me, because I had a sense that, I don't know, it was one of those things where I had a moment and I thought, gee whiz, you know, maybe this could be a movie, Enlightened Conversations. And Spirit said to me, it already is. And I was like, what? And they're like, you already just realize it yet? I'm like, really? Like total naive spiritual blonde. But then, and then it's like, as this whole process is unfolding, and it's not so much about it being a TV program, it's about it being a revolution of enlightenment across the globe. I'm kind of getting what they're talking about, that this is, you're living the story and you're writing it at the same time. Because I share everything transparently, as I have with you right now. Every step of the way I'm sharing it. And so I feel like it's about that, you know, trusting the journey is so important. I don't think people realize how important it is. And it sounds like it's something that you and I are very passionate about, that living that journey and that turning up for it, and really just stepping into shoes you've never stepped into, and doing things that you have no idea how to do, but going, it's okay. Spirit's got this. I'm okay. And I will, and I probably already do, have the support that I need to do this. It's just all there. It's such an incredible story.
I think that's the lovely thing about it. You never just get thrown into something. There's a transitional process, and you realize suddenly that actually this is the way you're already progressing into it. And they do, and you suddenly realize that actually everything that you need is around you. You just have to listen and observe what you need to do, and how you need to connect, and who you need to connect with. And it is very much, I always say that they're like a bunch of PAs. You know, you've got your and it's almost like the war cabinet room. Everyone's standing around the table and looking at the map of the world and thinking, now who needs to be in the right place at the right time so that we can make this all work. And that's exactly how I see it. It's just incredible. You couldn't pay for somebody, you couldn't pay for a team to help you with this kind of, unfolding. It's magical. This, whoever comes into your life has been geared up and prepared for that moment, that very moment when they meet you. It's all, it's like it's already, when it has been, orchestrated before we even came into this world. So it's just, I think it's a fantastic process.
Yeah,
and I think that's why it's really important for the film to come out, because it's going to highlight that for the way enlightened beings work, and that's really important. And I think after La La Land coming out, and the way that we're opening up to needing more of this understanding from a heartfelt energy source, it's, we're at a time where we can really embrace this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's, I think I kind of feel like we're sort of, we are part of each other's story, and we're sharing the part of the story in a similar space, in a similar time, in a similar stage. And it's like we're talking about spirit orchestrating people, and we are those people for each other. Like right now, like if you read, I don't know if you read my post on Facebook today, but it was all around the fact that yesterday Spirit had given me the green light to actually ask for some people to come on board as hosts for the show. And I had known that I would be asking some more people, but they were giving me space to do that, and told me just to focus on filming season 2, because I've been doing that for the last 3 weeks. And so, I'm not anticipating anything. And then all of a sudden I get the green light, and then this feeling, I can't tell you, it's like this feeling of expansion, ridiculous expansion. You probably felt it too when you had your script was the screenplay was written. You could feel it, right? It was just like, and I expressed, as I expressed it on Facebook today, if Spirit had told me 3 months ago, starting a television program, that it would be a global broadcasting network in 3 months' time with hosts, I would have killed over and gone, what the hell?
Yep.
What the hell? What am I doing? What? Thank God they didn't tell me that, and that I just turned up and lived the journey, and was able to, and then to have these moments in time where you have a special friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is the magical part of it. That's the other side of it that I didn't get. I thought, no, this is just about a film, but actually it's the deeper process, and the friendships and the people that I've connected with and bonded with from this process has been, if I could just take everything else away and leave the friendships, I would be a happy bunny. I am so, one of my clients asked me the other day and said, are you happy with your life? And I was gushing. I said, it's like waking up every morning, and it's like Christmas Day, because I am so lucky with the people in my life. And she said, but you have chronic ME, and you've got pain, and you have this. And actually, you know what? I don't register with that. It's just a process I go through. However, my life used to be full of pain, and all I used to feel was pain. People don't understand, and they look at me very oddly, and they think, well, how on earth do you function? How do you get through life? And you cannot express what it means when you have these people in your life, because that's everything to us. That's what we are as human beings. We're always searching for, ultimately, that love and that connection at a heartfelt space, so that we can coexist in this world. And that's ultimately what we're here for.
That's right. And I believe that those higher vibrational frequencies that we're ingesting, because we're choosing to be around, we are. I mean, you're choosing. Like, you could have gone down any route that you wanted to, and you haven't. And you are choosing those high vibrations, Amanda. And they are then, those choices that you're making are then coming back and supporting your process to cope, to be able to cope with all that, and to elevate you above all that, like you're saying, so that you're not like, it's there, whatever. But I'm also on this frequency over here, that I'm actually doing the work that my higher self needs to be doing on this planet. I feel like that's amazing. That's so inspirational, ridiculously inspirational, sweetheart. Like, so many people could learn from that a lot.
Well, I think what it is I try and earth this, I ground this, because people say, oh, well, it's okay for you, you know, you can see things, you're intuitive. What I try to instill in people is that actually my process is about overcoming adversity, and that's what I've done. So I live my, you know, I walk my talk, and I show people that regardless, we can still overcome adversity and still honor our dreams, so that people know that actually when they go through the difficult stuff, that actually if they just keep on trusting and having that faith and keep aligned, they'll hit the mark. So yeah, it was never going to be easy for me just to get this film out there. People think, oh, it's all right, she's written a film, she'll be loaded, she's, you know, she's going to have this film out there. The people that don't know me don't understand that actually I might not be able to pay my rent this next month. My car will fail its MOT. I will be carless. I have an intolerance to my environment, which means anything I eat, electricity, lights, technology, basically everything. My body is constantly affected by all of these things. So on a daily basis, I have all of these things to contend with, but I still make that choice to stay aligned and keep the faith, because I know that if I do this, I'm going to honor what I'm here for. So actually all of that pales into insignificance, because I've done this for so long that I know that we can overcome anything. I've always had this belief that we only ever attract that which we can overturn. If there's challenges in our life, we have the ability to find the solutions for it. It's where we look for it that counts. So this is, you know, this is what I'm trying to instill in other people, and I do. So I've just had to adapt the way I'm working so that I can help people still with the limitations that I have. And actually, it's made it even better because it's pushed me to a bigger audience. And I never expected that.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of funny how the challenges that we often complain about when we're in them, but it's the actual challenges that move us to where we can shine the brightest. Sometimes it's like a dose of, you know, doing that. Like you're saying, it's propelled you onto a platform that will reach an even bigger audience. The messages will reach of inspiration will reach an even bigger audience, and it's all serving a purpose for that. But I know it might sound a bit cruel, you know. Well, why would Spirit give her that so that she had to go through that, so that just for that? Why didn't Spirit just go, you know, let's make it easy, put you on a big platform and reach 1 million people? And I think it's because the journey, people might look at us as enlightened beings and think it's easy, but the reality is that we have had to work and process through layers of our own darkness and our own limited belief systems and our own fears, and that's how we can actually relate to other people. That's how we get it. That's actually, we've lived through it, and you can't disconnect from that experience, the human experience, and you can't leapfrog to enlightenment. You just need to understand that every single piece of that little puzzle along the way has served us to be able to actually have that voice and to be able to help people the way we can help them now.
Yeah, I do believe that true empaths have that understanding and experience, and have learned so much through their own wisdom from overcoming adversity and understanding about how to keep pushing the parameters of who they are, as opposed to, you know, the multitude. I mean, we need workshops, we need books, we need cards, we need the things, the tools that help us, but it's about our discernment. You know, you know, I do meet a lot of people who just want to fast track, and I get that, because that is them avoiding the pain. Pain is not designed to hurt us. Pain is actually designed to help us to break down what is no longer serving us, so that we become better. So once we acknowledge that, actually pain becomes our friend, and that's how I've seen it. You know, as I have forgiven all of those who've hurt and taken advantage of me in the past, I truly feel, and I don't do this because I want, you know, a brownie point. I do it because only only the guys upstairs can really truly know if I've forgiven that person. And
Absolutely.
that releases me from my connection to that particular situation. They did the very best they could at that time. And if you see them with love, and I never thought I could, and now I can. And that really is, you know, so humbling. So yeah, I think fast tracking is something that really is not, you know, not in my vocabulary. I understand that. I wanted to fast track. Believe me, I was, you know, in that mindset. And now I realise that, you know, you're in it for the long haul, so you might as well just get used to it.
Yeah, I know it might sound bizarre to some people, but learn to enjoy the challenge. Learn to feel joyful before you overcome the challenge. Like, learn to actually be in joy for that process, because I think that's the best way of fast tracking for sure, because it doesn't, you're not resisting and fighting it, you're not judging it, you're not shoveling shit on it, you know, you're not making it harder and harder and harder. You're actually you're giving it levity, and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to love this, I'm going to love the process. Whether it be, you know, like you and I, probably patience. That's actually a challenge at times, you know, or, you know, feeling as if the resources aren't coming on time, or you need them to come. You need to know that they're going to come on a certain time, like if you're, and just that can be a challenge, like moving into that zone. And we can say, okay, I can have two choices here. On the one hand, I can really bitch and feel really frustrated about the fact that I don't have the, you know, what I want to know when I need to know it, like right now. Like, you know, and there's probably a part of us, if we're honest, that would already be running and would already be doing that. Like it's running, it's frustrated, it's pissed off, it's blah, blah, blah. And it's okay to acknowledge that, but it's also okay to acknowledge the fact that that other part of ourselves that is saying, we know that absolutely nothing is going to happen outside of divine timing. And we know what we're put here for. And we know we will be supported absolutely in the right way.
Yeah.
And we're not going to compromise that, because we know there's something else holding this together. And so we can still have that process, but still feel a sense of excitement and joy around the other process that's going on as well at the same time.
Sure. I think that's really important. I think we've got to equally embrace the difficult part, which is the not knowing, being in that space, taking that, you know, breath of fresh air and thinking, how, you know, where are we going with this? And just relaxing into it. And when you do that, actually is allowing the process, and that is the way to fast track. Most people thrash about and struggle, and as you say, try and cover things up and throw into the mix what they think is going to be the process to help them through, but actually all that does is it compounds the process. So I learned a very good lesson, and I wrote about it in the book. And I remember I was in Egypt, and there was a young girl who I befriended, and she was on the coach, and she had become very, very unwell. And there was about 40 of us, and we were going through all the temples up to the, you know, to Cairo, to the Great Pyramid. And it was a very, very important trip. And they were going to make her get on the coach, and we were going to drive hours to the next temple. And I got off the coach and I went into the hotel to see her. And I said to the staff, she's got to stay here. She can't possibly come with us. And this woman just stood, you know, who was organizing this. And she said, Amanda, step out of the drama. And I was absolutely shocked. And she said it in front of everybody. And I felt so humiliated. But actually, it was such a good lesson for me, because I got caught up with that drama. It wasn't my drama to get involved with. In fact, they got her on the coach. We all looked after her. She managed to go to the temples. She didn't feel well for a couple of days, but she managed to go through the whole experience. It was her stuff, and she needed to go through it. So yeah, I think again, it's understanding that everyone has to go through their process. Hard as it is sometimes to watch loved ones go through stuff, when you know the answers and you want to rush in and say, but you're doing this wrong. You can't. You just got to let them go through it.
Yeah, and it's perfect for them, and I think it's great because it teaches us to detach with love, because what we're seeing is that often we need to walk a hard path to evolve, or a hard journey or a hard challenging situation to evolve, and that may be something that they've chosen, and it's none of our bloody business, and we can take our hands off and go, love ya, okay, I'm going to watch with love and detachment, and not that angst, I guess, you can take on and feel like, oh, I wish it was different for you, oh, you poor thing, you're in so much pain, and getting into that, getting the violins out for them story. but I feel like it's something that you and I have in common, I feel, is that we are really being extraordinarily selective about who we're choosing to work with.
Yes.
And really noticing there is such a difference. I mean, when you're coming from this space, Amanda, some people come into my path who I haven't met before, and I just know straight away that there's a incredible connection with that person, and it's about trusting that too, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing. You know, a lot of people will be very skeptical, especially when you're working in the area that we do. You know, you've got to know people, and they've got to be credible, and they've got to have, you know, so many acclaims to their name and so many awards, etc., for them to be the right people. The world that we work in, it doesn't matter who they are, or it's how you feel. And that's really important. And actually, as human beings, instinctively, that's how we know. But we've unlearned this behavior, because school teaches us that it's all about award and recognition and you know, and aspiring to something. But that's not actually the essence of who we are. You know, we come in with nothing and we leave with nothing, but we come in with that essence of who we are. And what we do is we connect with the essence of who these people are. And that's really important. So yeah, I think that's something that I think is going to be projected through our work, which will, you know, be very much available for people through the media to see, and then start to learn this themselves more so.
Yeah, and I'm getting this picture of activation, you know, so if and I agree with you, it's like we come in with lots of stuff that we've decided to do in this lifetime, and sometimes it just remains dormant until it's meant to awaken, and then sometimes it lies dormant until we meet someone that activates it as well. So we all have that effect on each other at times. And so what if, hypothetically, there's someone who has never made a movie at all, just say, and they come upon your path, and perhaps they have the financial resources to do it, and they believe in what you're doing so much that they just want to work with the people you've got and want to fund it. And you know what I mean? And they're just so excited and activated by what you're doing. So that's limitless, isn't that? That's infinite.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an infinite way to look at the situation, rather than, oh, we need these contacts and awards and people.
Well, when you look at it, you know, the industry, yes, okay, there may be people who have the funds and the means and the crew and the, you know, the availability, etc., but it doesn't necessarily mean that they will absolutely make this the essence of this film real for the people who watch it. We're not interested in how it makes those people feel who are creating it, and that's not to say we're being selfish here. If they're doing it just for the money, which is the majority of the industry, and yes, there's a lot of people who are very creative, and yes, we honor that as well. But if it is just about the money and getting the awards, then that is not going to have that right impact with those people. It's going to be the people who are passionate, enlightened, and yes, they may have the money and the resources and everything else, but they will have, and we know this, they will have absolutely everything that is needed for the essence to make Angel what we know it's going to become. The music itself, the screenplay itself, is absolutely as it should be. And we've had a huge amount of feedback in that respect. So it's like a baby. We've given birth to this baby, and we're fostering it, and we can't hand it over to the right parent until that we know and we'll connect with their essence. So that's really magical, and I can't wait for that. But you know, we're ready, we're willing to hold on to this baby until that time.
Yeah, think it's beautiful, and that's hence the pregnant pause. It's like the baby's being
Yeah,
held.
it is. It
I
is.
love that. I love that.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I was just about to say it's really weird because I've just turned 50, because I'm a Capricorn, you're an Aquarian. I'm a Capricorn Aquarian. I'm on the cusp. And for me,
I'm Aquarian, on the cusp of Gemini, I think it is.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sorry, we're in February now. Yes, absolutely.
That it will be airing, and so it will be like
Yeah.
on Queen Elizabeth's birthday. Like,
were you now?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Your birthday.
Oh, bless you. Royal birth. Yes, so I feel that this is almost like rebirthing. It is about a rebirth, and I'm going through a rebirth, and Angel is been born out of this, and the people who are connected to it. So I also know that whoever's producing this will also feel that it's going to be so touching in that way, and I know that because of the way I've worked with in other areas. So I know that this is going to be special for whoever comes into this process. So, and that will then eventually have the right impact with the people that actually watch this movie. And it's not just one movie either. It is there's, I don't want to give too much away, but this is not just about one movie.
Yeah.
So we have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I really feel like it's the way I look at Enlightened Conversations, it's like its own entity. So although I'm the custodian at the moment of growing this, or following its lead, actually, it's kind of taking me by the hand. I feel like I'm holding onto the edge of a magic carpet. That's kind of how I describe it.
Yeah.
It's like its own being, and it's telling me what to do, and I feel like that's cool, because I'm totally at the directive of the intention of it, the purity of what it wants to do. And I feel like when you allow that to be, when you actually allow that and respect it, and I feel that's what you're doing with your movie, then you draw like a magnet the right kind of people to you anyway, to keep that intention alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it then actually translates across when the movie is actually born. And
sure.
So it's awesome. I love the way we're working. I seriously do, and I wonder how many other people out there will benefit from listening to how we're making decisions at this level of what we're doing, because we could easily sell our souls and do all that shit. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and it would. You and I know both that we don't take the money with us when we go. We've worked enough with the other side to know it's not about the money at all. Although money is helpful to do what we want to do over here, it is something that is not going to make or break our enlightenment at all. And so we can't make it about that, because it will. If that starts to dictate our decision-making processes, we're coming to a place of fear, and we're actually going against what we stand for, which is really to that love that we know is eternal, infinite, and follows us over to the other side.
Absolutely. I think this is the thing. I think we're being woken up at the moment. The world is actually registering that there is this power struggle that's going on, and money is very much part of it. So this power, money, and all this fear that's going on in the world. It's, if we keep on trying to fight against that, we're never really going to find the solutions. The solutions are stand still, be in the moment, be in alignment, and focus on what is it that I need to do in my particular world and who I'm supposed to connect with. And if you just be in the right place at the right time, then all the little cogs in the wheel will eventually flow. And that's the ability we all have. And I think that this is really important. It's not about being competitive or worrying who has more than us, or, worrying we haven't got enough. When you just let go of life. I'm so blessed that I've got a roof over my head. My kids are happy, that my daughter's going to university in September. My son is doing his GCSEs. I just feel proud as a parent that I've got them to this stage, you know, looking after them myself for all these years. And I just feel blessed that every morning I can get up and I can actually physically get out of bed. It takes me a while, but I can still do it. I still get to the gym. I still eat healthily. I do all the regimes that I have to do. Despite the crashes, I still keep going regardless. Even when the tears come, it's okay. I'm just breaking. It's okay. I can just pause. And that's it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people look at life, if things are going wrong, oh, it's mayhem, it's chaos. How do I make this right? Sometimes it's not about making it right. It's about just being it and waiting to see what evolves from it. You know, the best things we can create from life are when we go through the toughest challenges. And I must, you know, that's why the guys upstairs came about, because I went through some incredible tough challenges. But I look back at every single moment as a blessing. You know, and people say, well, how can you forgive? How can you look at these people and think of them with love? Well, actually, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing and making this huge impact with so many people's lives, which will then, they will make that impact with others. As you know, it's, you know, this is the most rewarding work you can possibly do. It's not about the money or the power. It's about how it impacts other people's lives. And that is just so heartwarming.
It certainly is, my dear. I just feel it. I'm going to cry.
Oh,
this happens to me at the end of every
Oh, bless you.
I love it, but I feel it, and I feel so much joy in my heart. And I feel so much, you know, there's a sense of humility and honor, and I just want to kiss your feet right now, because we're standing for something that I feel that, even though on the outside it might look like, I don't know how it looks to other people, but when you're inside this feeling that we're talking about, where you're actually doing this kind of work from the heart and you care that much, it is the biggest gift that you can imagine, to wake up every morning and be in that. And it's just gold. Like nothing can give you that, nothing else. And so being in service like this and really making these kind of decisions the way we are, I feel is just mind-blowing, just heart-blowing. Let's just say heart-blowing, because that's how it felt when you were talking. I just felt like my heart blew open. It's very hard to find words.
It does. You do have those moments, don't you, where you have to ground yourself, because you think, oh, this is so huge. It is absolutely, and it, because it works through you. But when we look at it and we stand back from it, we realize that it's so magnificent. But then, you know, it's just such an honor to be aligned to this. And as I say, it's not that everybody has to go through struggle to understand. This is the thing that the message that I want to you know, convey to people. People think that you actually have to struggle to you know, understand about being enlightened, but it's not. It's about just aligning yourself and doing practices that help you to connect. And there are some very, you know, simple things that we can do, but we have to strip back to who we were as human beings before all this technology came into being. I'm doing a lot of research at the moment because of my condition, and actually it's led me down to a very, very sort of final sort of understanding. We are not capable as human beings to absorb the amount of technology, the type of foods that are available, the environment that we've built around us, because we haven't evolved quickly enough as human beings. I mean, for me, a 50-year-old, when I look back as a child, all I did was romp around climbing trees and playing outside with animals. I didn't have toys anyway. I had books. My father had a library, so I used to pour through books. And that was it. So 90% of the time I was outside. It was just, you know, and you know, it was just incredible for me. So we ate food that we grew or reared. Everything was very, very simple. Now, all these years later, my body is now unable to process all the chemicals that I've had to put into the body. A lot of it is medication because of the neurological side of things. And all the processed foods and technology. as a sensitive, you'll know this. A lot of sensitives are very intolerant to their environment. And this is why a lot of these conditions now are just coming up, which are, you know, the ADHD and all the different neurological conditions that children are developing as human beings, all the neurological conditions, fibromyalgia, you know, all of these, ME, MS. So I think that this is our intolerance as human beings. And I think a lot of this, because this is what I'm doing at the moment, is to strip it right back. Go back to living basics. Yes, we need to use technology, but it's how much technology we use. Yes, we need to communicate with the world and we need to use this stuff and we need to eat. But what do I process in my body? How am I going to give myself the right nutrition? So it's being mindful. So mindfulness is key to the whole process.
Yeah, and I agree. And I feel like I was given some information the other day when I was on my little morning run about how psychically we're being trained from an early age now, through computers and through iPads and through that you can do things metaphysically because it's a virtual reality. And so spirits using, and the shadow aspect of technology is that it disconnects and it creates us to live outside the body. So that's the shadow aspect of technology, because it's you know, it's things that we want to live in our heads and we don't want to go play, you know. But the flip side of that, I was shown, was that spirit's using every way it can as we evolve to get our attention to develop our skills psychically, which is happening a lot from the online use and things like that. And what I was shown, kind of interesting that you should say this, is that when we strip that back, and I'm not kidding, this is what we're shown to me. So you can imagine when we strip that back, what is left is the spiritual organs that we have been growing while that technology has been in front of us. And so what will happen, it may happen for people when, I don't know, maybe they go away for a camping trip, or they're away from technology for having a technology vacation or whatever, and all of a sudden they're going to find that they've got all this psychic ability and stuff is activated, and it's because the intensity of the virtual world and the online usage can be quite addictive and can save your head. But at the same time, they've been developing skills along the way. So stripping it back, oh my God, wouldn't that make a good movie? You know, stripping it. Oh, you and I, we're just probably thinking about everything we make up. You probably think like me. I was like, talk to them, oh my God, that could be a good movie. And I'm always going. But I got shown that the other day, so I think it's awesome that we're talking about it, because we can. Yeah, I think spirit's trying to get the younger generation's attention. We're going down the techno route.
They are.
Yeah.
This was interesting because I've actually written about that in one of the chapters. I can't remember which chapter it is, but it was I was shown on the 16th of May 2004. And they showed me that when this mission came to fruition, it would be through the media and it would be through technology. And yes, you're quite right. We need the shadow aspect, because actually that's a true reflection of what's going on in the world. It is the yin and yang. It's about our discernment. So yes, in a way, it's brought these teenagers in because they've got addicted to it, which is great. This is what we need. And then they will discern what's right and what's wrong. And that's what life is very much about, isn't it? It's so yeah. But this is the age of Aquarius for you, because it is the age of communication. It's about communication. So technology has advanced, but also our inner communication. And it's sort of like a race against time. Will humanity, you know, evolve quickly enough so that they can overcome the shadow elements of the technological race to advance?
That's a good movie title.
Yeah. Another one.
I'm terrible, Muriel. Say viewers meeting. I'm terrible. You're terrible. Yeah, no, it's cool. I love it. And it is literally like watching a movie. Like a lot of the stuff that we're seeing, isn't it, Amanda? I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of adventure. It's very interesting watching humanity at the moment, because I just don't buy into any of the dramas. And I think people get a little bit, how could you not care or something? It's like, I care.
Yeah.
I'm just interested. I find it quite humorous. And I watched a movie. I don't see the tragedy in the drama at all. I look at it like it's it's something that is unfolding, like a piece of art, and it's unfolding before my eyes in a glorious fashion, and it's morphing itself, and it's going through all these changes, and I get to watch it. How cool is that?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So I'm pretty excited for the humorous.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot of protests that are going on around the world at the moment. And I was watching that and observing it. And I thought, well, yes, some people need to do that. And that's fine, because that's their way of trying to deal with their own little pocket of their world that makes sense for them. And actually, at one point, I probably would have got involved in all that myself. I would have got very angry, and I need to go and voice my opinion. But is that really going to benefit that situation? Am I really going to make a difference? When that happens, I feel actually I'm exactly where I need to be, because doing what I need to do, focusing on my little area of my world, is going to have the right impact when the time's right. It's not for me to judge how that's going to happen. I just listen to my guidance, like you. We just do what we need to do, and we make our difference in our own way, which will have far more impact because it reaches far more people. And that way you do it through peaceful protest, which is not about the negative, and it's not about fighting, and it's not about judgment. It's none of that. It's actually, okay, I see what's going on, but yeah, I'm supposed to see that because it's part of what this process is about. And you just get on and do what you need to do.
Absolutely. And by doing what we're doing in the creative way we're doing it, we're creating a different reality that makes it possible for people to step out of the drama and go, actually, it's more interesting over there. And so, you know what I mean? It's like, well, if you don't have a choice of somewhere to go, which is often the case, especially when it comes to politics, you know, it's like choosing Jekyll or Hyde or whatever you want to call it, you know, but if you don't have someone else standing there who can hold the space for a different type of consciousness, and you don't have the people that are ready to embrace that, then you know, you got to work at the baby steps towards that, and that's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
That's what we're doing. We're part of the baby steps, baby, and I'm excited to be part of that, because I feel that those baby steps are not just for the human race. They're feeding me and my spirit, my soul, and they're growing me, and I'm expanding and I'm learning, and I'm in the solution, and I'm in joy. So it's awesome.
It's interesting. I'm reading an autobiography by a lady who died of cancer. She's a very well-known actress, Linda Bellingham, and she wrote about her experience while she was going through this cancer. But her view of the media and the way that reality TV has very much taken over, and it's how. But that's again, it's. We demand that, as people demand that. The stuff in the papers, we demand that. The people we put in power, we demand that. So it's no good, you know, arguing all of this and saying it's rubbish on TV, the papers are full of doom and gloom, and the president or prime minister is wrong. Once we change our attitudes towards ourselves and the world that we live in, that will then help the people around us, and that in itself will create the ripple that will then ultimately change the dynamics in the media, in the powers that be. So that's the way I feel that we can have the most impact in this world.
Yeah, I agree, sweetheart. And I feel like what we're doing is peace in action, and that is very powerful stuff. You can, you can call it that we're just being peaceful people, but we're doing so much in action around creating that peace, that it's very powerful force. And I don't think people realize the positive power of peace activism, and it's huge. And I actually feel that people do need to have structures in place that they can actually, I guess, it's almost like climatizing to a different planet, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, unless people have resources and structures in place that they can say, well, let me plug into that for a bit and see if I can stand it. Okay, I'll plug out the drama for a while. Actually, I'm getting sick of that. Let me plug back into peace for a bit. And then, you know, then they're getting used to it. I think, that's what we're doing. And we're creating the little people can plug into. And I feel like that's awesome that we share that in common. Guess what? Our hour is up. I can't believe
Wow.
it. It's gone so quickly. Oh my God.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's just like, boom, it's gone.
Maybe it's just a thing that we have.
Yeah.
But before we have to sign off and everything, but before we do, just let people know where they can find you, so that if they want to connect with you and learn more about what you're doing, they can find you easily, like the website or social media page. Feel free to share both.
Oh, bless you. Well, I mean, most people can get me on my website, which is amanda-hart.co.uk. On there is all my social media sites and our Kickstarter page and all the information. We're starting a newsletter now to keep people informed. I'm blogging now, so there's lots of information, but that's the hub, so people can contact me on that page.
Oh, awesome! Oh, awesome, sweetheart. That's great. I'm really excited, and
Thank you.
I'm watching your movie like a movie unfold.
Yeah.
Can't wait to and hear more about it and be part of that journey of how the process of it coming into being. I feel like I'm part of the pregnancy or something.
Oh, bless you. And likewise, I mean, you're going through a magnificent change yourself, so it's lovely that we're working in parallel like this. So I can't wait to see how this evolves for you too, my darling.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, beautiful. Lots of love to you, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much, my darling. Bye-bye.
Bye.